to Good Follow presented by DraftKings. I'm Megan Reyes, and we are actually recording this week's episode on Wednesday ahead of Game 3. So before I welcome in our co-hosts Roz and Logan, let's use our time machine and travel to Thursday morning to see what Roz has to say about Games 3 and 4.
Okay, guys, here is my high-level analysis of Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. Oh my God, it was so crazy. It was absolutely insane. It was nuts. It was all the things that sports are, all the things we hoped it would be. This is a heavyweight matchup between the Lynx and the Liberty. The game was exhilarating. The tables have turned. No lead is safe. Anyone can come back on anyone. And this time it was the Liberty giving the Lynx a dose of their own medicine, coming back from being down as much as 15 points to get the win over the Lynx in Minnesota. Gritty win. We'll all remember the shot. Sabrina Ionescu comes up with a huge shot. And after the game, like immediately after, I tweeted, I actually thought that Sabrina played a really composed game throughout. And I was finding myself annoyed hearing commentary about the fact that she had taken few shot attempts or how many points she had, when I saw a player who perhaps the game didn't go perfect for her, but she stayed with it emotionally and didn't let that take her out of it. I saw somebody who, against a really tough defense in the Lynx, was a strong floor general, only 3 turnovers against them. And I thought made some really savvy heads up plays off the bounce for assists to find cutting teammates to the basket or for shots. I thought she showed a lot of discretion in her shot selection. She only took 12 shots in the game. She didn't shoot the team out of the game trying to find her own points. Instead, you just stay with it, keep contributing. And you have to do that over a course of a game to be ready to hit a shot like that. So when Breanna Stewart kind of carried the team to that point, Sabrina Ionescu has always loved the bright light. She's super clutch, stepped into a couple of big plays down the stretch, and certainly the shot that we'll all remember from the logo, really stepped up big. And that's who she's been. Since I've been covering her at Oregon, she's always been clutch. But I really think, we got to talk about the shot, but we must talk about the workhorse. And that was Breanna Stewart. 30 points, 11 rebounds, 4 blocks, and it was 22 of the team's 45 points in the second half. I mean, just coming through the emotion, the fire from Breanna Stewart, who picks her spots on when to bring that to the team. We saw in the timeout, she said, we're not going to lose this game. She was the one that put the team on her back and came up with some really clutch shots, but it's really on the defensive end. Her defense on Nafisa Collier, that has been a fascinating matchup to watch between the two of them. She stuffed a number of shots, four blocks in the game. It's on both ends that Stewie's getting it done. For me, if the Liberty can hold on to win, I've got Breanna Stewart as finals MVP for the Liberty. Like she is the one that is making this thing happen. And it's crazy, the emotional swings up and down throughout a series. She has showed composure, resilience, because it's been a roller coaster, especially for Breanna Stewart. Okay, game 4. I expect that we'll see a different defensive look for the Lynx, because Stewie's the key and she's eating them up. I also think it's not just like stopping Stewie from scoring, it's stopping her defensive impact. In game 2, Stewie had 7 steals. In game 3, Stewie had 4 blocks. In particular, she really disrupted what they wanted to do with Nafisa Collier down the stretch. How do we disrupt Stewie's defensive impact and also tighten up on the other end for the Lynx? For the Liberty, I mean, look, this is a heavyweight battle. This is a mental battle. This is a battle over 4 quarters. The game is never over for either team. Both teams have shown me they both got dog in them. They both got toughness. They both got heart. The Liberty ain't the shiny nice girls. They're tough. They're here. They're fighting for this moment. This is what they've worked for. And they came and they really showed their heart in game 3. And in the response in game 2. And obviously this is a ragtag group of players that have been the right time, the right combination around Nafisa Collier for the Lynx, and Nafisa being their superstar. These are the top 2 teams all season for the WNBA. And here we are as a fan base getting to watch them, tip off. The games have been absolutely exhilarating, have met the moment for a WNBA season that has been record-setting, record-breaking, attention-getting. And of course, the finals are delivering exactly that. I just am like eating the popcorn, screaming, texting my group chats, watching the games, losing my mind. This has been everything we hoped for and more. So, okay, ladies, we've got a great conversation on Good Follow about these finals. So I just can't. Like, what? Okay, back to y'all.
Okay, and now joining me officially are Logan Hackett and WNBA analyst Roz Gold-Unwitty. Let's continue our playoff conversation with something Roz has been talking about for weeks: depth. We could sit here and talk about the stars all day, but let's start with this question, Roz. Why are the bench players for each team so important?
That's one of the things that both teams have as part of their like luxuries, if you will, that they're so deep. So I think like one of the first things for the Lynx would be first not digging a deep hole in any of these games, which is what they've been doing in games 1 and 2. But I think like as far as depth, Maisha Hines-Allen is so important for like her size and her strength, and her ability to help out on the interior alongside Alana Smith and Nafisa Collier. The Lynx are undersized, and so they've got to make up for it. And so like Maisha Hines-Allen is someone who's a Swiss Army knife and can help with size. And then I also think, Natisha Heidemann has had some big moments and they need more of. Xanda Lassini has been someone who can come off and hit big threes and not part of the bench, but are we going to get like a huge 3-point shooting game from Bridget Carlton? That could really change everything in the series. There has not been a great 3-point shooting game yet from the Lynx. And then for the Liberty, Kayla Thornton has been so tough. And I thought she's had big, tough minutes when she's been out there. And Courtney Vandersloot, we haven't seen her make a huge impact yet. But, since being moved to the bench in the playoffs, I feel like whether or not it's happening on the court, guys, she's been a huge voice of stability and veteran leadership in the locker room. Like, especially after game 1 and needing to rebound from a very crushing defeat, it's been her voice that's been like delivering the message of, it's okay that this doesn't feel good. We've got to move on. I've won a championship before and it's hard. This is hard, so stay together.
So looking at both the Liberty and the Lynx, maybe picking 1 or 2 players on each side, what will those players have to do to help their teams win a championship?
I think Natisha Heidemann is really going to have to get in there. I mean, I loved watching her last game. I think when I was looking at the plus minuses, she was the only bench player in the plus. And if she can keep that up coming off the bench, she just adds like an extra drive to their energy that they already have. And then, as you mentioned, Sloot with her veteran leadership, I think it's so important. Minnesota doesn't really, they have leadership on the court, but not so much on the bench during the games. And I think that's what Sloot adds to the bench, because I mean, whether she's in the game or out the game, she's still contributing in some way, shape, or form. So I think, honestly, they just kind of stick to what they're doing and they'll be perfectly fine.
So, Roz, last weekend you sat down with Kayla McBride and asked her what makes the Lynx work. So let's see what she had to say.
I think there's a lot of maturity in all of our journeys and where we are right now. It just kind of, I keep calling it like a blended family, like we're just kind of like this organic chemistry. We're a bunch of weirdos and we just enjoy playing basketball with each other. And there's never any like pointing fingers or anything like that, the ebbs and flows of a season, the hard times, the good times. We've just continued to like stay connected and stay tight knit. And that's what you see, you know what I'm saying? And that's like the beautiful part about being a part of this team, because it doesn't happen like that. Yeah. You can have amazing, talented locker rooms, but when you have that chemistry and that trust and that love for each other, holding each other down, staying connected, that's what makes something really special, and that's what we have in our locker room.
I'm here for the weirdos. Weirdos always work.
Yeah, I thought it was a good answer, a cute answer. I like to think of this Lynx team as like almost a collection of misfits in some ways. And I say that very lovingly in the sense that like, hey, they're superstars Nafisa Collier, but then everyone around them are different players who have been on teams that were in losing situations or have had some real peaks and valleys in their career, or have straight up had some controversial moments and been outcasted, or players who weren't in the right situation and weren't having their talent maximized or weren't getting a lot of minutes to like really shine. They were being slept on. And so what I find in talking with them, there's a lot of humility on the team. There's a lot of gratitude. There's a lot of respect for one another's journeys. This isn't a group of young players. It's a group of veterans who are really experienced and tough. It takes resilience to overcome all of the ups and downs that can occur over the course of a WNBA career. And like to have this moment where they can all shine together on the final stage. That's really awesome. And it's a cool juxtaposition to a team in the New York Liberty where, they are a team of highly decorated stars. A lot of those stories, we know their names well. These are, players who we've expected a lot. We've seen a lot from them, from their college to their professional careers. So it's actually it depends on what kind of fan you are, like what storyline appeals to you more. Do you like the ragtag, rumble tumble, links, or do you like the more shiny, streamlined Liberty that we expected to be here, that fell short last year and are trying to redeem themselves now?
Right. Logan, what are your thoughts on what Kayla had to say?
I think last year they only have 5 players from last year. So for a team to come together that quickly and get that close, I mean, as you said, whenever you see a Lynx player speak, especially about their team, it's all like very tight knit. They're all doing stuff together, talking, communicating, hanging out outside of it. Like, I just love how fast they've come together. Normally we don't see that. I mean, even the Aces, it took a little bit for them to come together as a core group. And yeah, they were super close and the chemistry is what worked. But now we're starting to see that with other teams. And this is kind of like an interesting situation because also, as you relate it to the Liberty, they were all close. It's mostly the core of last year. So I love to see it. I think that is so important with the team as well, especially when you have kind of these more mid-range. I don't want to call them mid-range because they're not mid-range, but you don't have all the superstars there. UFE is kind of leading it and everybody's tacked on, but they're all coming together as a group effort rather than like individual ones.
Megan, what side of that story relates to you more? Do you like the more like shiny decorated team, or the one that's more that calls themselves a group of weirdos?
I think it depends on how I want to slice it. I think as someone who's worked for teams that are the shiny decorated team, obviously that's more appealing, but I'm here for the weirdos. I love that. I love her answer. And also chemistry is so important. And to both of your points, to them being able to come together, gel and have the success they've had, to me is a much more appealing storyline. Before we move on from the Lynx, I do have a stat for y'all and then a question that follows. So the Lynx are tied with the Houston Comets and the Seattle Storm for the most championships at 4. So real quick rapid fire, would winning a 5th championship make the Lynx the best all-time franchise? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'd go with yeah, just because of the numbers thing. Like, that is so easy to back up and argue because I mean they're at the top. But I will say, I know, sorry, it's supposed to be rapid fire. It is kind of cool because in the recent years we really haven't seen that type of success, and now they're back on top. So absolutely love to see it. Hope they can keep it going as well. But my answer would be yeah.
Are they the best, Ross? Or would they be the best if they won 5?
I would say it's hard to measure that given generational time spans. Like, for instance, the Houston Comets, like the time that they were dominant when the league was starting, the importance of that to getting the league off the ground. So I would just say no, but maybe perhaps it does put Cheryl Reeve in the conversation for best WNBA coach of all time.
That's fair. Okay, well, we're going to move on, but we're going to stay in the W for a little bit. Ahead of Game 1 last week, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert announced that playoff format changes are coming in 2025. So for those that are unfamiliar, starting next season, round 1 will stay a best of 3, but move to a 1-1-1 format, guaranteeing both teams at least 1 home game. And the semis will stay at 2-2-1 best of 5 series. Where the shakeup comes is with the finals, which are moving to a best of 7 series following the same format as the NBA at 2-2-1-1-1, the higher seed hosting the first 2 games as well as games 5 and 7 if necessary. So in your opinion, what do you all think this says about the direction of the W changing the finals format?
It's growing. Like 100%. I think one of the biggest things when I'm talking to my friends, guy friends specifically, about the W finals, whenever they realize the format, they're like, wait, it's not 7 games. It's like different every round too. So I think 7 games is the most important for the finals because that's what we're seeing in pretty much every other league that has a playoffs. But it's there. People want to watch it, and especially with the viewership numbers coming off of this year, I think it's super important, and it just shows how much it's growing, not only for the fans, but also for the players, because I think that's something that the players want as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the announcements that really stood out to me was the fact that the first round is still out of 3, but it's going to a 1-1-1 versus it was a 2-1 situation format. And I think that's awesome. That means everybody gets to play a playoff game in front of their home crowd. You went all season, and that was one of the deflating things that I was an issue for a lot of teams, is the sense that you played the whole season, you made it to the playoffs, and if you're a lower seed, that means that you could be out before even having a chance to, I mean, I'm talking from a
Uh-huh.
business standpoint, reward your fans, make playoff money, like feed the ecosystem, put butts in seats. Could you imagine? Isn't it shameful? We never saw a game for the Indiana Fever, who made the playoffs for the first time since 2016, and they didn't get to play in Indy. Like, and also how that might have changed the series if it went one, I think it was Connecticut. I'm blanking now. It was Minnesota. No, it was Connecticut. If it went one Connecticut, then the next game went to Indy. Imagine then they had the chance to split, and now you're in a decisive game 3. So it also adds to the drama and intrigue, if you will. So I think every team that makes the playoffs should be rewarded with the chance to play in front of their fans and reward fans with the playoff game.
Agreed on both fronts. Well, coming up, Ross sits down with New York Liberty GM Jonathan Kolb to discuss building the Liberty to what they are today. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Roz Goldenwoode. I am here with the New York Liberty GM, Jonathan Kolb. What's up, Jonathan? Thank you for being with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
What is this job like? Being the GM of a sports team in New York, where all fan bases, no matter what, have an urgency for a championship, are hungry, are desiring a championship.
It's the best. I got to be honest with you. I think I'm like the luckiest person in the world. And I think what's really cool about what you said, it's all of New York, right? It's not just Brooklyn. It's all of New York that's with us. And I think that's what makes this franchise so special.
Mm-hmm. What about this team, as far as identity, characteristics, makes it a championship caliber team?
I think it's our habits. I think top down ownership, front office, coaches, and then players, everybody involved, everybody that touches this. We have a certain attention to detail about how we go about things. And I think this group from day one this year has just been incredibly focused. And we haven't been about the end result, which is what we hope will happen. You referenced championship, right? But it's been about the process along the way and understanding that we might hit speed bumps here and there. And that's okay, because we can figure out how to grow from those. And I think we've just done a really good job. And I always say it's like the longest, shortest season ever in the WNBA, especially with the Olympics this year. But during that, it can go a myriad of different directions. And I think we've stayed focused on the task at hand really well.
What are some words that describe this Liberty team?
I think gritty, I think disciplined, and I think we have heart. I really do. I think this group, they've come together. I've got to be honest, it's been really cool to see a true team form. Like, they have come together for each other. And I see that with staff and coaches, everybody, like, we're all hands on deck. And to be a part of something like that is pretty remarkable. And it's something that during the season, I'm trying to take snapshots in my mind, because this doesn't happen all the time. And so when you have something special, you want to do that. So I think we've all done, players included, a good job of understanding this is a special thing we have, and we want to keep it going as long as we can.
Where does leadership come from?
Starting with Stewie, I've got to see Stewie blossom into a leader here. And on a human level, it's really cool. Sabrina, I think you've seen her play at an all WNBA level, arguably the best guard this year in the WNBA. And now her voice, it has the weight, and the team really listens. I think Benijah Laney-Hamilton, she's what I think is like the soul of our team. When she speaks, everyone looks to her, everyone listens. And then JJ, I think JJ has picked her spots this year, and she's really good about feeling a room and knowing when to speak and how. So it's been, like I said, it's been great to see those players step up in moments of need.
And you think about this from last season to this season, as soon as the Liberty lost and fell short in the finals to the Aces, what did you know you had to do to fortify this roster and support that main group there?
We were going to improve our bench. And the reason for that was more just optionality off of that bench to supplement the star power that we have. We wanted to get longer. We wanted to get more athletic. We didn't want to sacrifice shot-making ability, but also wanted to increase our defensive prowess off the bench, which I think we did achieve with some of the players we brought in. And I think part of that, too, is we found players that are just great people and willing to do the role of whatever's necessary.
How do you scout people, players who are going to be winners, who are going to be tough when the lights are bright, aren't going to be scared?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's, we do a lot of research. I'm really proud of our front office. I think we work really hard and diligently, not only to focus on the skill level and the effort level, but who these players are as people. But also, we went and got 2 MVPs from overseas. And the thing about players that are playing overseas, the games over there, they're intense. The lights are really bright there too. There's a lot on the line, a lot at stake. And so you want to get players that, like you said, when the lights are the brightest, they don't fold, they shine. And so that's, Leonie Phoebish, Kennedy Burke, 2 players that we brought in that have made a huge impact for us.
How did you know on Leonie Phoebish? I mean, that 4-team trade, that really seemed to pay off. Take me through the logistics of making that happen, making that fruitful, and also identifying Leonie as a player that had to be here.
Yeah, we actually tried to draft Leonie in her draft class. I think it was 2020. And LA selected her a few picks ahead of us. And we tried for a long time to get those rights from LA. Didn't pan out. They were smart. Didn't give them up, and then they ultimately did in another deal. I think it was Gabby Williams went to Chicago, the rights to Leonie went to Chicago. So we checked in with Chicago and said, hey, if you guys are ever gonna move these, please keep us in mind. At the time, I think nobody knew Leo's name, and that's a really uncomfortable position to be in sometimes. As you talk about our rabid fan base, they're like, who is this? Yeah. What I will say that's been really fun to watch is Leo's ascension this year. The connection with the fan base has you feel it in Barclays Center. You feel her go from who is this player, and she's like, who are they? And then they kind of come together. So for us, identifying her a long time ago, and then ultimately getting her rights, and then bringing her over, and then having her succeed has been an awesome path to follow.
What does it take for an executive staff of a team to find success internationally, which I would say this Liberty roster has done well?
It's just about figuring out, will the skill set really translate? It's not unlike the college draft, right? It's how do we see this working out? But for us, it's just having eyes everywhere and then drilling down once we identify some prospects on, can this work here and with the roster construction that we already have in place?
Another thing that your team has as a strength, one of the X factors has been the depth. I mean, we knew the core group, including Sloot, was just going to be super talented, but we didn't know what the bench was going to be this season. So Leonie was a hit, right?
Yeah.
But then you've got all these other players who, I don't know how you did it. They're all big, long, tall. They all most can stretch the court and play and shoot the 3. They all play defense. They're all pretty smart and interchangeable. Can you tell me about these other pieces and how you were able to put all that together, you and your staff?
Yeah, look, I think, to start, a couple years ago, we drafted Nyara Sabali 5th overall. And again, at that point, we knew it would be a long-term plan. We knew she wasn't going to be able to play due to injury that year. And so for us, we believed she would be a top 3 player in that draft had she been healthy. We had the good fortune of drafting her 5th overall, and we rehabbed, and she worked so hard to get back. And now you can kind of see the player she is. Impactful rim protector, relentless rebounder, then defensively her ability to switch is just a huge asset for us. So we love her versatility. I think she's versatility personified in a way. So it starts with her a couple of years ago and then coming on. And again, it's not unlike Leonie, seeing this fan base start to see her play and understand what she brings. It's been great. Kennedy Burke is a player for us. She made huge strides the last couple of years. And she's just been looking for a home in the WNBA.
Yeah, she looked great, especially out of the Olympic break, just more comfortable. You are so in tune with the crowd, the fan bases, Barclays Center's connection with the team. I've heard you reference that a lot.
Yeah. So our fan base, we have a true home court advantage because of them, and our players feel it too. And what's been really nice to see, and our players feel it. Our players want to play for them and they feed off of them. And I think more than just me, I think it's the relationship on the floor with the players and the fans as well. We're all in this together. And it's something that, like I said at the outset, it's really special.
what do you think can be an X factor for your team in these finals? It could be players.
To me, it's experience. I think our experience will dictate success. I think for us, it's something where when it gets hard, we lean into that hard and we embrace it, and we understand that, hey, at the end of the day, we don't want it to be easy. We want it to be a New York way. We want to do this for New York together. So I think for us, our X factor will be our experience.
Absolutely. Well, hey, there were so many decisions along the way here where you had to really trust your instincts, your research, where immediately it may not have seemed like the home run that clearly it is now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really, is that a characteristic of every GM, or is that something you have to learn over time?
I don't know. I think for me, that we just want to do what's right. And I think we trust ourselves. It's impossible. We do have a standard of perfection. It makes my job really, really tiring and hard, but it's so worth it. And I think for us, it's just understanding that some moves at the time, the end result might not be obvious, but we trust our process and we trust that it will pay off in the end. And I think you're seeing that with multiple players this year, and also just the byproduct of the team at large, right? So it's something that we just will continue to lean into.
Yeah, and that it takes time too. It's not overnight success.
No, and I think, especially like today's society, things are instant gratification and things, but sometimes the things you wait for are what's worth it the most,
Absolutely. Thank you for the time.
Oh,
Great to
so
see you
much.
as always. Thank you, Jonathan Kolb, General
you.
Manager of the New York Liberty.
Thank you.
Welcome back into Good Follow. We've talked a lot about the playoffs this episode, so now it's time for the players to do some talking with this week's game of Guess Who. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. We will see a quote from a Liberty or Lynx player, and we have to guess which player said it. So it's like what we did last week with the Fits, except this time they're talking. We will see how we do this week. I'm going to lean on both of you, but let's see the first one. We were chatting. I told her she couldn't guard me. You told me I ain't had that many good games. It's playoffs, man. We're going to talk a little bit. We will be cool again after we're done playing.
I think I
right.
know who it is. Are you going to tell us which team it's from?
Yeah, do we get a guess? I think we are just cold turkey out here.
Logan, you think you know?
I want to say it's Fee on Stewie.
Right. It's giving that to, it definitely is, right?
Two people who know each other off the court for sure.
Yes. And then also someone else that might talk trash too is Courtney Williams.
Yeah.
So like this could be a Courtney Williams energy, but I feel like this does have something to do with people asking about the unrivaled connection between Stewie and Nafisa. But it also has like Courtney energy. So Megan, do you want to like choose which one?
Oh, okay. I'll be the tiebreaker. I'm all about going with the gut. And so both of you first thought Fee. So I'm gonna go with Nafisa. Let's see. Were we right? Roll answer.
Chat, and I told her she couldn't guard me.
Dang.
Don't ever go with the gut,
I ain't
apparently.
had that many good games. I said, so you think you pressured? Because I'm really pressured. A little back and forth action. It's playoffs, man. We're going to talk a little bit. We'll be cool again after we done playing.
I love her.
I love her energy.
Best. She really is the best. And I'm so glad that Courtney Williams is like having this incredible playoffs in this new chapter. Some people had written her off.
Okay, so Courtney, which by my thought process means process of elimination, that maybe she won't come up again in this game. So we've used our Courtney Williams card. Let's see the next quote. Well, Whoopi Goldberg came to a playoff game and I didn't get to meet her, so I was sad about that. Any guesses here?
I feel like
Go, Logan.
I feel like I've heard Whoopi Goldberg be mentioned before. I feel like it's maybe Sabrina because when Spike Lee went to the game and she was talking about like all the stars coming, but at the same time, this might not be a Liberty team. The Lynx and Liberty are just so fresh in my brain right now.
Oh, isn't it? Are the players?
It's only Lynx to Liberty.
It's
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like it's Sabrina.
I can't think of the player, but I would like to rationalize that it's not a member of the Lynx because this is like, I feel like New York is where like the most star-studded guests might be. So I've deducted it down to a Liberty player, and you've said Sabrina. So I would go there. I'd agree with you, whatever.
Let's go Sabrina. I think we'll go with that as our final answer.
Well, Whoopi Goldberg
I knew it was going to be Stewie too.
I love that. It's been a lot of people, especially as of late, and I think it's just amazing to see them come, but also just the way that they're invested in the game and the sport itself.
Man.
You know what's funny? I remember these clips, both of those clips coming down like my feed and seeing them, and now I'm watching and I'm like, oh, damn you, Roz.
You know, we all overconsume so much content on a daily basis, so I don't blame you at all. It just goes in and right out. And right now we're 0 for 2. That's okay.
I mean, that's on me. Maybe I'll take a little back seat.
No,
We made this
this
as
is
a team.
unlike us. We've been smashing these games lately, and the
We
game
have.
makers are jealous and intimidated and angry, and so they like totally came out and like
Our
overcorrected.
producers went and said, oh, they thought.
They
wrong.
thought.
What we don't know, and maybe I was unclear on this, is if these quotes have been throughout the playoffs or just during the finals, but we don't know. So let's see the third one. We'll see if we can get this one right. This is the finals.
I know.
No one cares if you're tired. Take it away, Roz.
Well, Courtney Williams said this to me in a post-game interview that we did exclusively for Good Follow Show and the Meadowlark Media family. Now, if this was said anywhere else, it's possible, but I know for a fact, and there's video evidence, that Courtney Williams said this to me. I'm skeptical only because she's already been an answer.
That's why they're going to try and throw us off.
I feel like there was a coach who said it, but if this is just players, then that doesn't make sense.
Either way, we're correct because we have video evidence. It's literally on
Very
the
true.
Follow Show Instagram of an interview like that. Right after the game, she said that.
All right.
Let's-
Courtney Williams, exclusively for Good Follow, is our final answer. We won't take anything else.
Your team played just a day and a half ago. You had to travel, get here. How did you guys find the strength in overtime to get this done?
You can't think about it. This is the finals. No one cares if you're tired. It's not an asterisk that we had a loss because we just played. So we just got to find a way to push through and not think about it.
I'm gonna just say we were wrong.
That must have been recycled. Maybe that's like a team tagline.
Right. Don't nobody care. It's a
Whatever.
mindset, that dog mindset. I will say it was a setup, and I would like the judges to review the evidence later.
Yeah, I'm not feeling this game right now, but it's okay. We have 2 more chances to get at least one right. Let's see the next quote. This was the first time people can watch my game. People are going to be able to watch it like all over the world, the playoffs, the semifinals, and finals.
Is it
You
giving,
know, I'm feeling defeated right now, so I'm going to go with you too.
is it giving international player?
It is giving international player vibes.
It's
like the
kind of
first time
giving-
people can watch my game.
Lenny Phoebish?
It could be Leonie Phoebish. That could
Leonie. Sorry, I always got that wrong.
Niara Sabali is also international,
Yes.
but Leonie's like one that would be getting interviewed a lot. On the other side, Bridget Carlton, I believe, is not from the US.
She's
Right?
Canadian.
Who's
Go Canada.
Australian over there? I forget. Somebody over there.
Alana Smith.
Oh, Alana. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, is she Australian? Yeah, she is. She is. She went to Stanford. Women's basketball.
I'm gonna go with, because like the word world is really standing out to me here. So who is like the furthest possible player that's not just in Canada?
I guess we
I'm
could
really
say-
throwing crap at the wall right now, trying to get something right. I'll be so honest with you.
Let's go Leonie. Oh, it's
It's a Lynx player. Our producers feel so bad for us right
I
now.
do.
They're like,
I know
listen,
we've
y'all.
never gotten help before, but I do think the game would have been more clear if we had a team mentioned. A Lynx player. I wouldn't say it's Alana because she's been doing this WNBA thing for a while.
Okay. Final answer.
Bridget Carlton or Xanda Lucini. Xanda Lucini hasn't, would we Bridget
I
Carlton?
wouldn't go.
Let's just go there.
Bridget Carlton. Okay.
Oh, no. Who did you have? Who did you have, Logan?
I was gonna say I wouldn't go with Bridget just because like we've had, if there's one sport that's been played pretty well here on TV, it's WNBA.
Okay.
But
who else is international in the starting lineup? Not Nafisa, not Courtney, not Kayla.
A bench player. They are giving us.
They are really
grasping at
a bench
straws right
player
now.
would be. I think it's Zandalicini because she's been out of the league for a while and now kind of coming back and like being great. She's an international player. The other bench player that's playing a lot is Maisha Hines-Allen, but that's not an international story. Natisha Heidemann, but I don't think that's an international story. Zandalicini.
Okay.
let's do it.
Okay. We'll rock with it. Please tell us she's right.
This was the first time that like people could watch my game, you know, in Hungary, and maybe that's gonna change that. Maybe, you know, people are gonna be able to watch it like all over the world, like the playoffs, semifinals, and finals. Like it's gonna be streamed. Like I think that's what we want. I think we want like other people in the world that they can watch it, they can love it, but they also can put themselves into the like our shoes and be like, okay, I can be that player.
We blew that. That was really right there.
Right there.
Well, that's it for our game of Guess Who. We didn't do the greatest, but we will be back next week, maybe, with a game that isn't our strengths. You know, I think we maybe questioned ourselves a little bit too much and overthought the process, but we're going to get them next time. But coming up after the break, I reveal my DraftKings picks of the week, and I also share my latest good follow. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Good Follow. Before we get into our weekly picks, our partners at DraftKings have an offer that's perfect for any game day. Right now, new customers who bet $5 will instantly get $250 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code GOODFOLLOW. That's $250 in bonus bets to spend on parlays, live betting, or picking straight up winners after betting only $5. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, you can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Again, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code GOODFOLLOW for $250 in bonus bets instantly after betting only $5 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Okay, now it's time for this week's DraftKings Sportsbook picks. This Sunday, Angel City hosts their final home match of the regular season against the Utah Royals. Last week, Angel City and U.S. Women's National Team star Kristen Press scored her first goal after 2 years and 4 knee surgeries for Angel City in what seemed like a game winner, but Angel City ultimately drew 1-1 with NC Courage. And on the other side, Utah had an emphatic 3-0 victory over Seattle Reign thanks to a hat trick from Canadian Chloe Lacasse. After a tough start to their inaugural season, Utah have stayed in the playoff hunt, winning their last 3, and Angel City have been vulnerable giving up late goals. But I think Angel City's defense, led by veteran Sarah Gordon, will turn things around. Offensively, I have my eyes on Claire Emsley, who leads Angel City in goals scored with 7. I'm calling at least 1 PK or 1 banger from Claire this weekend. Logan, do you agree with me? Can Angel City get the win, or is your Canadian Chloe going to upset them at home in LA?
I think they can get the win for sure. I mean, a few weeks ago, we were saying that they were trending upwards, perfect time for playoffs, and whether that's going to happen or not, we don't know yet. But they have been doing well. And I think that game last week really cemented it, especially with Kristen Press scoring. I mean, she is such a force for that team. And I feel like she's the type of player where she just has to get 1 goal, like kind of get back into it, and then she's going to be good.
Yeah, her confidence back.
Yeah, exactly. And Utah this whole season, I mean, they've been up and down, but last week as well was a good week for them with Chloe Lacasse. But yeah, I think they can get that win.
So on the Angel City storyline, as we all know, recently they were hit with sanctions and a 3-point deduction in the standings because they had violated the salary cap rules. And Angel City released a statement earlier this week saying the violations were because of a misunderstanding, essentially, about child care payments and how those were calculated in the salary cap. And whether or not this is true, the 3 points certainly hurt them in the standings and possibly their playoff hunt, but it's really not out of the question for them the way that the standings are. I mean, they sort of hold their destiny in their own hands, and obviously some other things have to happen, but Angel City could still make the playoffs. And I think they're hungry enough, and just given the roller coaster of the team, I think it's possible. But do you think they can edge their way into the 8th spot?
I think it's going to be hard. They absolutely have to get 6 points with their next, or I guess last 2 games of the season, but they have 23 points right now. And then you have Bay in that 8th spot with, I believe, 28. Yeah. So there's the 5, and then there's, I think, 4 teams between them, and they all have at least one winnable game, but it's also games that they can like draw and everything else. So as long as they can win those last 2 games, I think they could have a chance. Those 3 points being taken away, though, like really hurt them. I think had the 3 points have stayed, then they'd be in.
Let's move on around the league. Orlando's undefeated season came to an end last week after a pretty shocking 2-0 loss to Portland in Portland. Now, they were without Marta and Barbara Banda, but they still had 7 of their starters out on the field. What do you think went wrong for the Pride, if it did go wrong? Not to say that a team is okay with losing. Obviously, everyone wants to be competitive. You want to win, regardless of the fact you've already clinched the playoffs. 3 points matter, right? That's why you're competitive. But what went wrong, or do you think they were willing to let this be sort of a throwaway game?
I think they kind of took it off, not realizing that they could beat Portland. I mean, if you looked at it on paper, Portland's last win came in, I want to say like July, at the very beginning of July. So it doesn't seem like the type of team that would really give a tough go at things. But you also have to think back, like Orlando hasn't played without Barbara and Marta for a pretty long time. And that completely disrupts, especially their front line, but their team as a whole. So I don't think they really expected to come out with the loss. But then when you look at their schedule, I believe they play Gotham next, and I think Seattle Reign last. So I think based on timing with when the playoffs come, that was kind of the key game. But they just took it too easy, especially for a Portland team that's probably hungry for a win, and they moved up the rankings with that. So
right. Well, if you recall, we had NWSL analyst and former NWSL forward Darian Jenkins on the show a couple weeks ago, and we talked about, Orlando's undefeated season. And remember, we all talked about, like, what would you rather do? Would you rather go undefeated and lose in the playoffs, or would you rather get that loss out of the way? And so for Orlando, they certainly got that loss out of the way. I think it'll be beneficial for them to regroup. Maybe if Marta and Barbara needed that rest, well, you got your rest, and like, let's keep our foot on the gas moving forward. But Logan, do you think that the loss benefits them moving forward?
Absolutely, because especially when you're winning, it's been all season that they've been winning. They've never even felt a loss, even though it wasn't really that important other than their 24-game unbeaten streak going out the door. They still were able to feel it and be like, dang, like we just got shut out too. Like they didn't score a single goal. So now going into playoffs, they don't want to replicate that feeling. Like that's probably going to be possibly the first of the year. I'm not too sure, but they know what it feels like now, and they can move on, and their only focus is playoffs as well.
Right. Well, let's move on to their next game that you mentioned. 2 of the top 3 teams are going head-to-head this weekend. Orlando is taking on Gotham. And the last time these 2 teams met, Orlando won 2-0. So do you have thoughts or any key things you want to see happen for this game?
I'd be shocked if Barbara and Marta were not playing. I think they need to bring back the full lineup, treat this like a playoff game for all we care, especially because Gotham has been putting up goals recently. That was Orlando's thing. So I almost feel like we're going to see a draw out of this one, an unexpected one, or just like a 1-goal game. But Gotham has really been trending upwards as well. So I'm very interested to see, especially how they come back from a loss.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think like Gotham has stayed a top team throughout the season, but I think with the Orlando storyline of it all, and then Temwa, breaking Sam Kerr's record and all the goals that she keeps scoring and everything else that's going on, Gotham's kind of flown a little bit under the radar until they went and put up 5 goals the other week. But I still don't think they should be counted out. And so I'm excited for this one. I will definitely be on the couch, sat ready for it. Well, earlier this week, the Women's Sports Foundation held their 2024 annual Salute in New York City. Goodfollow was there to catch up with folks on the red carpet. Let's take a look.
What the Women's Sports Foundation has done, and is doing is such critical and important work. And to be here celebrating the 50th anniversary of all their work is such an honor, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to watch the night unfold.
Tonight is a bunch of girl bosses that are just, such a standout for so many other young women, to inspire them, for them to look up to. And the fact that I just get to be in the room with a bunch of greats is so meaningful for every young girl.
In 1974, 50 years ago, women were just allowed by law to have their own credit card. So, it is so hard to imagine that this athletic revolution has become, of course, a social revolution, has become an economic revolution. It's very exciting to think what the future is going to bring.
I just am thrilled that we're going to take everybody through a little bit of a time machine and celebrate the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and where we are today.
I always get really empowered at this event, and I leave tonight and I go home tomorrow and I just want to do action. I want to make a difference.
You're seeing the support. That's the rewarding part, right? You're seeing more numbers in sports. In the Olympics, the women were the same numbers as the men, so you are seeing outcomes regardless of what people say.
My mom was impacted by Billie Jean King's work. My mom was impacted by Title IX. I was impacted. I have an 18-month-old daughter. She too is impacted. This is something that extends generations, and that is a legacy that we'll continue to pass on. And so to create space to honor that and celebrate that is going to be so special tonight.
Can you sum up 50 years of Women's Sports Foundation in one word?
Progress.
Well, as you all know, the foundation of this show is that communities get built one good follow at a time. Each week, one of us will highlight a person, page, or brand as the good follow of the week. And I am up this week. My good follow of the week is the new reality show in women's sports, Offseason FC, aka at Offseason FC on social media. Let's take a look at this trailer.
The NWSL is the hardest league in the world.
Clicked out by Weaver! Sensational!
So all the wins mean so much more.
Magnificent!
But the drama doesn't stop when the season ends.
I stopped just being the player. I think that makes me special.
Yeah. It's not fun anymore. I'm ready to retire.
Maria signed a record-breaking contract.
Some players don't think I deserve it. It's a lot of pressure.
Diversity's always been an issue. I'm worried because it's no secret that I'm Black.
Are you limping?
No, I'm good. I can play on it. There's always someone coming after my spot. It makes me really anxious.
You want a baby at the end of this year. You may get pregnant by the end of this year.
I have to decide, soon.
It's a risk. All of this is a risk.
Yes!
You just have to be a little bit crazy to play in this league.
Do we think we are going to drink all of this? I'm here for every ounce of drama. The drama.
Champagne?
Friend turned to foe real quick, honey.
I feel kind of like I'm back in the playoffs.
Do you know what that's like?
People just be talking shit. I just want to play soccer.
Tackle her! I'm gonna leave right now.
What do I have to do with this?
You're gonna get in trouble.
Cheers, everybody, to frenemies!
I am so excited for this. Created and co-produced by Gotham FC and U.S. Women's National Team star Midge Purce, the series follows 11 NWSL stars living in one house in Miami during the offseason. It is produced by the makers of Drive to Survive, Vanderpump Rules, and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, giving us all the drama that we need and deserve. Offseason FC, which is my good follow of the week, debuts tonight, October 18th, streaming on X. So everyone, tune in and follow. I'm so excited. I got chills and a little bit of tears because this is just going to be such high quality production. So that is my good follow of the week. Logan, are you excited for offseason?
I cannot wait, especially seeing the trailer, more is involved. Because I feel like it's almost been 2 years now, or maybe the past year, we've seen little stuff on social media, when they first got into the house and everyone was like, what is going on? What is this? Mm-hmm. Is it a TV show? Is it not? When's it coming out? And I feel like they've really built it into what it's going to be. And I absolutely cannot wait. I'm here for the drama too. I want to see what it's like. And they have the best personalities that they could probably find in that house. So they're going to clash, and I cannot wait.
Well, once again, Offseason FC is my good follow of the week. Make sure you find them on social media.
And we want to hear from our fans. Who is your good follow? Send your nominations to @GoodFollowShow and tell us why your good follow should be featured on our show.
Good Follow is brought to you by DraftKings. We'll see you all next week.